CEBIS hydraulic setting. This is the hydraulic settings section. To enter the hydraulic section, highlight the hydraulic icon and click on the left rotary dial. In this menu, there are many different settings. You can adjust for each color control valve. The additional control valves for the front-mounted hydraulics are marked red and yellow. In the menu, you can make adjustments to your front hitch, assign priority to a valve, choose your joystick hydraulic connections, modify your rear hitch settings, and change the settings to your rear hydraulic controls. To edit the settings of a rear control valve, use the rotary dial to scroll to the desired valve and click on the dial. In this example, we will edit the blue valve settings. In each valve's sub-menu, you can change the oil volume, control valve response time, and the control time. To drop into that menu, push the dial. Now you can edit each of those segments individually. In the oil volume segment, you can change the total volume supplied to the upper connection, and total volume supplied to the lower connection. Typically, you will only want to set the total volume. If you have a special application where the upper and lower output flow needs to be different, you can set it individually, but for now, we will just look at the total oil volume. Currently, it's set at 100%. We can click the dial and make it adjustable and turn our rotary dial up or down to set it at the flow required. For this case, we will set it down to 65%. Click the rotary dial again to save these changes. If you hit Escape, you will see that the blue valve is now set to 65% instead of 100%. You can also edit the control valve response time. If you click into the sub-menu, you can use the same processes to make changes here. In this menu, you can edit the total response time for the output flow, and response time for the input flow on an individual basis. Click on the total response time to make it editable. Then adjust your time up and then click the dial to save it. The value you set is the number of seconds it takes for the valve to open to the full oil flow that you have set. For example, if total oil volume was set to 100% and each valve can put out 27 gallons per minute, it will take 1.5 seconds to go from 0 gallons per minute to 27 gallons per minute. If you want the valve to come on immediately, leave this value at 0. If you want a hydraulic orbit motor to ramp up to speed slowly so you don't put undue stress on the drivetrain and shafts, then you can make it accelerate gradually with these settings. The control time is the number of seconds that the valve stays on demand when you engage the remote. To change this timer, push the dial to make it selectable. By turning the rotary dial, adjust to the number of seconds that you want the valve to stay on demand. In this example, we have it set for 7 seconds. To save this new value, click the rotary dial. When you return to the working screen, notice that the blue valve arrows have now moved from 100% down to 65%, and the blue timer icon shows a 7 for 7 seconds of on-time demand. The remaining values can be adjusted the same way. For the operating controls, we have the joystick connections, and the joystick can change from a red and yellow combination to a blue and brown, or to a purple and orange combination control. To change this setting, press the rotary dial, scroll down to the desired color combination, and click the dial to save your selection. Now the joystick will control the blue and brown valves together. From the hydraulic settings menu, you can also go in and set priority to a valve. Assigning priority to a valve will guarantee that remote will always receive that amount of flow it is set to, regardless of the demand needed by the remaining lines. When you assign a valve priority, it is placed in series with the hydraulic circuit, while the other remotes are connected in parallel. In this example, we will make the blue valve take priority. To do this, scroll down to the blue valve and click to select the blue valve as your priority. If you set the blue valve for 15 gallons per minute, you will always get 15 gallons per minute while that valve is on demand. Notice that when we return to the CEBIS working screen, the blue hydraulic indicator is now larger than the remaining hydraulic valves. This indicates that the blue valve has been set as a priority valve over the other remotes. In the front lift menu, you can change various parameters of the front lift, including the working position for area calculation. This is the position of travel that the front hitch raises or lowers, which triggers the area calculation counter. You can also set a maximum raise height for your front hitch. This is helpful when you have an implement that could potentially damage the tractor if it is raised too high. Through the front hitch menu, you can change the rate of drop speed. If you want the implement to drop slower or faster, you would modify the percentage on the screen. A setting of 100% is the fastest speed capable from the front hitch. The same changes can be made for lifting your hitch as well. To edit any of these values, click on the function and rotate the rotary dial until you get to the setting you wish, and click again to store the value. Escape out and turn your rotary dial to modify the rear 3-point hitch settings. There are a couple of differences in the rear hitch menu. The first is the ability to set your rear hitch to position regulation or draft regulation. Draft control is selected by turning the function on or off and setting a percentage, which corresponds to the percentage of total draft allowed. With draft control active as you encounter a large load, your 3-point hitch will begin to raise, which gives weight transfer and adds extra traction to the rear axle. The max raise height, drop rate, and raise rate settings are the same as the front hitch. The rear hitch offers a vibration dampening control system that can be turned on or off. The vibration damping system, when active, will reduce the bounce you feel while roading an implement down the road and give you a better driving experience. To turn vibration damping on and off, go into the Edit mode, scroll down to Off, and click the dial to save. If desired, go back into the Edit mode to turn the damping back on, save it, and hit Escape to return to the working screen.